All right, this is going to be the analysis or pre-market analysis for March 3rd. And what I'm looking for going forward into this week. Also, what I've been looking at the past week on Euro USD, pound dollar, and the Australian dollar against the US dollar. Now, I'm not really holding any positions right now. I was short last week, taking a look over here at this resistance level, and the market came right back up, stopped me out for pretty much break even, and I was looking for opportunities to potentially go short, maybe somewhere here. And my reasoning for that was looking at this trend line I had drawn up, support to resistance, and it did find resistance here, this huge fake out over here, and then finally, uh, actually on Sunday when the market gapped up, try to make a little move down. I actually was thinking about shorting here, but I didn't like the fact that there was no upper wick or no upper shadow, um, that was shown on the candle. Plus, it was really early, so I didn't want to try to jump the gun and go short and say, "Oh, this thing is probably going to go down." So, which is a good thing. I held off because market ended up going up, and then finally um, started playing around in this trend line, and then eventually I ended up not taking any positions over here. But the next day had that nice move to the downside. But again, I always talk about waiting till the end of the day, the end of the daily candle, to see what what's going to be, what's going to look like at the end of the day, right? Every time the market does something in the morning, or once the new candle opens, it could be a completely different story when the candle, you know at the end of the session. And that's exactly what happened here. You just left the big wick. Now the next day, it did come up and test that trend line again, and then started moving down. I actually went short halfway of this candle. I was kind of thinking to myself, okay, maybe we're going to get a really strong drive to the downside and surpass this low on the previous candle, even though there was just a long wick. But the fact that it crept right back up and didn't close below this, I ended up closing that short position for, I don't know, it was about 16 pips, 17 pips or so, and decided to wait it out. And it was a good thing because the market ended up moving right back up, all the way up to test pretty much where the previous um, open was. So I ended up staying flat and wanting to wait to see what this market's actually going to do. Are we going to drive up to this pivot zone again, or are we going to go short and drive down to this next level of support? So I decided to hold off on that and see if we're actually going to make another move, maybe up here to this trend line. I would like to ideally try to attempt to short somewhere above here, slightly above '09, 0900, and then see if we can get a drive up here and then move all the way down to the downside. Now, if we don't end up going up here, what I would still like to go short, but I'm going to wait to see if we can actually get below these median levels here. You can see there was support here, try to drive down, and there was actually some divergence to the upside, which I should have saw this and not really want to attempt to hold any short. I mean, I didn't end up losing on that trade, but still, the fact that there was some bullish divergence here, I should have just waited it out and see if this market is going to retest. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. So yeah, it's not really showing me anything it wants to do, but I will be willing to go short if we could get back below this level here. And this is actually a pretty important level. You can see the previous the previous support all the way back here, and then it found some support. Even if it dipped down a little lower, it still held on to this area and bounced up right back above it. Now, this seemed like a pretty good fake out. This might have had some people go short and thinking that, okay, we're going to go and make new lower lows. But of course, on Friday, they pushed back up. And I would like to see, ideally, a move back up here. And then that would probably give us a nice hidden divergence or trend continuation divergence to the downside. And if I draw that, you would have a high up here, right, that coincides with this high. And then you would potentially have another high somewhere up here, which would coincide with probably move here. So you'll have maybe a hidden divergence, something like that, right? And then you'll have this high with a potentially lower high, and then a move to the downside. But we'll just have to see what happens going forward today, especially we have some news, which we'll get into in just a second, for this coming week. But yeah, there's not really no exactly. I mean, it's been pretty much garbage the last couple of, in terms of swing trading, for the past, what, 2023 all the way going into this year. And if you go down here and we go down to a weekly chart, you can see just sideways action. Now, if you're on a smaller time frame and you're not really trying to swing trade for big moves, that's perfectly fine, right? You can get into some positions and you can pretty much, trade it up and down, up and down. But yeah, you can see the same type of garbage over here. This is way back in 2015, 2016. This is actually pretty brutal if you're a swing trader, because this has lasted about almost 2 years, all the way back here. So you could see the nice big moves, right? And then a consolidation, a nice swing moves here, swing moves here, swing moves here, swing moves here. Actually, this was a really nice down move that I was able to capitalize on, basically this whole move. But of course, now we're on this consolidation period, and we have to see on this weekly chart what we're going to get in terms of if we're going to test this and come back down, or if we're going to start making a move down here, and then swing up. If we do end up coming down here, regardless of how we get there, whether we hit resistance here or the market from this point on starts going all the way to the downside, I would be trying to ideally look for some long positions here. And I've talked about this before, staying long, being long overall on Euro USD, on British Pound USD, and Australian Dollar USD. And I'll show you why. Even if I go back to, let's take a look at the pound US dollar. See, same thing. It's not really doing anything. I mean, it found some support here at around this pivot level, but not really. It's not really doing anything. If I take a look at the Australian dollar, US dollar, you can see, yeah, it had some moves. I mean, I didn't take this position, or I didn't take a position on this short, but about to take this trend line here and move it up to this resistance. You see, that was a nice resistance level that you could have gone short, and not any major move. You can see on Friday, obviously the market moved back up, but ideally I see long positions across the board on the more like on a monthly or quarterly time frame. And if I start here with the Australian dollar USD, you can see this is what I have drawing up long term. So if I go on a monthly, excuse me, on a monthly, you can see this huge descending triangle. Things are getting really tight here, and you can actually see it even better if I go on the quarterly chart. All right, you see this, things are getting really sideways here, and you see the MACD on the bottom trending up, signifying a potential huge move coming in the next 2 quarters to the upside. So that's why I'm sticking with these pairs making a big move to the upside. If I go and show you pound USD, you can see it also has some type of wedge formation with with trending divergence. And if I take a look at the Euro USD, same thing, right? You can see the wedge playing out and divergences to the upside. So I'm looking, hopefully, we get a move to the downside where I try to position myself for that move, and try to get down here so I can put some buy positions, and then we can start taking off and start trending to the upside. Again, like I just showed you on the weekly chart, just like this. You can see I talked about this consolidation period. And this consolidation period, every time we have like a pretty long consolidation period, it's followed by a huge breakout, right? You could see after this big move, consolidation, and then a nice move, probably over 1,000 pips to the upside, and then maybe a small little consolidation here. I don't really count this though because this was around when the whole pandemic started. So you had this wild swing going on for a couple of weeks before it really took off to the upside for over 1,000 pips. And then now we're getting the same thing over here where we have this consolidation, pretty much sideways for the past year or so, going into this year. So again, I would like to get in a position for this market to pull down a little bit more, and then start positioning ourselves for a move to the upside because of the long-term outlook that I just shared. So that's basically what I'm looking at for this upcoming week. Again, I would like to short ideally up here at this trend line, which coincides with this pivot zone, and also a potential trend continuation divergence, which would give a nice, low risk area to potentially make a big move to the downside and then a huge move to the upside. So if we look at the calendar, we have a lot of data coming out this week, which means the market's going to be probably pretty active, and especially on Friday where we have NFP. Powell testifies, Fed testifies on Thursday and Wednesday. So, you have a lot of data coming out, which we're definitely going to get some good movement out of this market, or out of the market in general. So we'll see how this goes this coming week, and manage your risk as always. And we'll see what happens going into this week, and I'll see you again on Sunday.